Thanks for tuning in. This brief video will cover all the latest products from Caddy for the Q1 of 2021.
Today we're going to talk about the new Caddy product. Like we said, we're going to talk about the new CJ6, which is kind of a big deal. The new RBS brackets, the new Gorilla bracket, otherwise known as a TB1624HD, and then the associated brackets with that. The new toolless first means of support, the FM4 and FM411, and then the BG series. We'll touch on that quickly towards the end. So to start, everybody knows the CJ6, right? We fight over fractions of pennies on them. It's the industry standard. Caddy lost their or the not copyright, but the whatever, can't think of the name, right out, and we started getting knockoffs, right? Everybody started making these, and Caddy said, hey, we can do this better. We've got a way to do this. And so what we've made is a snap to stud CJ6. It's a toolless install, gets pulled across the stud. We're talking about dropping install time by half or even less now. And it's really going to be the idea of the future. Again, you're removing a screw and a screw gun from somebody's hand, and it's going to be the next big thing, definitely. Here you can see it'll go to either side of the stud. You simply pull it across. You start on the far side, pull it across, and that spring steel will clip on, and that's it. It's the CJ6 is something they've been talking about for a long time, and now it's out. The new RBS brackets, RBS-HD. We all know the RBS-16 and the RBS-24, so we've added the HD version. As you can see, they look basically the same as what you're used to. You get the 4 openings for the 24-inch or the 3 openings on the 16-inch, but they've made them much more robust, twice as robust, Dustin. And they've got that unique keyhole design, so you can easily identify which mounting points you need to use for a 4-inch box or a 4 11/16 box. Like I said, they're twice as robust. They don't push back, they don't twist, and those kind of bends in the top and bottom allow us to do our toolless first means of support, which we'll show you in a few minutes. It's one of the later products. So again, you can go. You've got your 16, you've got your 24-inch, works with your 1900 boxes or your 11B boxes. They'll work with, you can just put a mud ring on it for a ring and string where you don't need a box in a data application. And it'll even work with some mud rings turned sideways. So just like we all know and love the RBS brackets, industry standard for a long time, just a lot better now. And with that same idea, we've come out with the TB1624HD, otherwise known as the Gorilla bracket. And what that is, that's that main telescoping bracket you see in the picture on the right. And that comes pre-assembled, unlike maybe TSGB, where you have to break it apart and slide it into itself or something. Comes pre-assembled together, extends out from 14.5 inches all the way out to 25 inches. So if you've got that kind of awkward stud spacing, maybe something's been mislaid out and it's just a little over 24 inches, or you've got those spaces next to a door or something where you've got less than 16 inches, it will fit in the majority of those spaces. Like I said, it's pre-assembled. It's so rigid, they say it eliminates the need for a far side support. There are 4 brackets that get mounted to it, or plates rather, that get mounted. What you see there is a TB45P, and we'll get into all of those. The asymmetrical design, where you see the male and female ends are not on the same side. You don't have one piece that's male and one piece that's female, but rather they're alternating. What that allows for is when the bracket is fully expanded, you will always be mounted, your plate will always be mounted to at least one female side, which is the larger half. So you'll always have a more solid connection. One of our competitors in the marketplace here, they use 2 females and 2 males. And when the bracket's fully extended, if you're on the 2 male pieces, sometimes it just doesn't have as positive of an install. It's a snap-on install. And if you have those smaller bars as opposed to those thicker bars, it could be a little, I don't want to say problematic, but just not as positive as you'd probably like to see. With this design, you can install the Gorilla bracket, the TB1624HD, and then come back and snap those plates on once the Gorilla brackets are already installed on the studs. It's really, really great for guys who have their own prefab shops. It will reduce install costs and reduce install time overall because of the way you can break it apart. And we'll look at the different plates that go on it. They're pretty similar. There's the TB45P, which we see here on the right. The reason it's a 45P is we can fit a 4-inch box, a 4 11/16, or a 5-inch box. Also, with the flanges on the side, it could be mounted directly onto the stud. So you were a prefab contractor, you could put all your boxes in this bracket, and then the ones that need to go in between the studs, you can mount on Gorilla brackets throughout the project, and the rest of these can go directly onto the stud. Extruded low voltage holes. So again, you can screw a mud ring onto this because it's got the extruded holes as opposed to just the little stamped holes. So it'll have solid mounting, and you can do a ring and string situation if you don't need a box for your data. And that means that this could be a all-encompassing solution for basically every opening on a project, with its varying from all the way from 4 to 5-inch boxes, data, whatever, on stud mount, between stud mount. Beyond that, we have the TB45PK, which is nearly identical. The big difference being that it's got a little kick in the back or on the bottom, you can see, and that basically gives it far side support. So when these are attached to the Gorilla bracket, to the TB1624HD, you don't need a far side support. But when you're installing these directly on a stud, you might still want that extra support, that second means, that far side support. And so this little kick on the bottom along with the little flanges allows you to do that. Beyond that, it's got all the same benefits of the TB45P, where it can mount a 4-inch box, a 4 11/16, a 5-inch box, the extruded low voltage holes, all of that. It's all the same. Beyond that, we also have the TB4PU. So not everybody's boxes, when it comes to 4 11/16, they don't all put the screws in the same corners. If they're in opposite corners, not every bracket works with every box. So this is our answer to that problem here. It is a universal one. Obviously, with a 4-inch box, if that's a problem, you rotate it 90 degrees, problem's gone. On an 11B box, you rotate it 90 degrees. Now, since it's not square, the holes don't line up. The TB4PU is a universal bracket for whatever boxes you have, whether for any 1900 or 4 11/16. It won't do a 5-inch box. That's what the other two will manage. But this is your universal, hence the U. And we'll just touch on this briefly because it doesn't exist yet, but it's coming soon, late March, hopefully just not too late. The TB435FB. So this is another bracket that will mount to the Gorilla bracket, the TB1624HD, for a fire alarm box, and then you will be able to manually adjust the depth of the box after the drywall is up to get it perfectly flush. That screw is on the inside of the box, as you can see, and it allows you to move that box in and out on the bracket and get that perfect fitment at the end of the day. We'll have more on this when it actually comes out, and I'm sure Dustin and I will go into a lot more detail about it and samples and all that stuff in the future. So the first means of support, the toolless first means of support. The other big benefit of the new RBS brackets and then the whole TB Gorilla bracket line is that beyond its strength, beyond its universal use of 4-inch 11B and 5-inch boxes, we now have the FM4 and FM411, which allow for a toolless first means of support. The FM4 is for 1900 boxes, the FM411, 11B boxes, hence the 4, 4, and 11, right? They will fit, I believe it's 3/4-inch EMT or 14 or 12 or 12.2, 12.3 MC. You can kind of see, and I've got another picture, I believe, on the next slide where you can see it just kind of fits into the groove that's in the RBS brackets and the TB plates that mount onto the Gorilla brackets. So along with the CJ6, you can install these. You know, you screw a bracket to the stud. And beyond that, you wouldn't need another screw to hold anything in. It can all be toolless beyond that with the snap to stud CJ6 and our FM4 and FM411 first means of support. Really, really great. Again, we're moving towards toolless installs, which means quicker, which means less tools, less waste because there's less screws, more safety, which is obviously a big thing, and all of that is stuff that we see contractors looking for, and Caddy's really responding to that. So continuing on the toolless guide here, we've got the BG bars, which is something we've talked about before, but want to just put in front of you guys one more time. The BG16, BG24, and BGC. So all these are, the 16 and the 24 are 512 bars. And then you've got these toolless BG clips, which are spring steel that you can bend and push and adjust onto the bars, and then they snap into the keyholes in the stud. You can also buy just the clips in the BGC, and that will fit 1/4 inch threaded or smooth rod. So if somebody's got a lot of that lying around, they can use just the clips. Here you can see an example of the install, right? So like we said, it's just you squeeze it to slide it onto the bar, get it where you need it. You can then push it down to the keyholes of the stud. I'm going to actually go forward, and then you've got your bat wings, your K8s, your K12s, etc., to hold your MC, your conduit, whatever, in place. So as you can see in that picture, that is an entire toolless install. There's not a single screw holding any of that. Nobody needed to pull a tool out of their belt. Nobody needed to charge a drill or an impact gun or carry screws with them. So when you look at all of these products, we're really, again, moving towards toolless installs, using that lower tiered, let's call it less skilled labor to do more. So that's really, it's what we're seeing the demand for, and people are using it and gravitating towards it. So those are all the new products.
If you have questions about any of these products or any other Caddy products, please reach out to your local OneSource rep. Thank you for watching.